Greetings from Florida. Here we're working on a Hyundai Tucson 2016 to 2020. This is the right front. Video is double speed. There's only one screw to remove right there under that door pull, one Phillips screw. And you've got that triangular side view mirror cover that's coming off. After that, you're just going to find a place to grab the panel from, pop it off. Right there. Then on the other side, there's two wiring harnesses that you're going to unplug. One for the, I think it's an internal speaker, and then those two cables that go to your handle just come off with a simple unsnap of a black tab. If you're replacing the regulator, that entire thing is what we're changing, the entire black regulator. Make sure you have the right part before you get started. Everything's got to come out. Taking off the speaker. If you have any questions, ask right here on YouTube. If you find this helpful, please do me a favor. Like, L-I-K-E, like the video. And that will help other people, such as yourself, find it on YouTube. I believe 7mm is the socket size for those bolts, those screws. Taking off the motor. And you're going to see the only problem with these things generally is that the gear inside the regulator strips out. It's a big problem. You might be able to change the regulator gear by itself. I'm going to have another video on here of how to do that. So if I do, I'll link it to this one. Pop off all those connectors that are holding the wiring harness in place. Push those rubber stops through and then take off the cables from that housing. And as you do, notice the orientation of the housing. You want to keep it in the same position so you know how to put it back in. It's either, there's only two ways it goes, but after that, bring the glass down. 10mm there, loosen, 10mm there, remove. A little bit of WD-40 in the two up and down channels on the side every 3 or 4 months. It's good for all your cars, all your windows. Lightly, you don't have to soak it. This wasn't coming off too easily, so I grabbed that tool. Oh, I guess it did come off finally. 10mm bolts all around. Everything's coming off. You'll note that I missed one. I'll find that in a minute. Now you are going to need to take out the latch and the carrier for the handle on this. The latch is held in by 3 Torx 30 bolts. Those are coming off. The outside handle, there's a black round cover. If you take that off, you'll see a 10mm bolt behind there. Now the driver's one's a little harder because you've got the key cylinder there. This one's pretty easy on the right front because there's no key cylinder. So once you remove that, you can take out what would have been the key cylinder, but there's no key cylinder. And then slide the handle off. Then you've got one screw in there that holds the assembly in. You can either use a socket or a Phillips. Here's the one I missed. Now at first, this kind of came out without my taking out the outside carrier, the carrier for the outside handle. But then I realized I would need to do that to get everything back in properly. So I did take the whole thing out. You'll see in a second. Feed that through and we're done with the regulator. Except there's one small piece that I forgot, but I'll show you in a minute. It's what the screw goes into for the door panel. So there's the part. I was thinking about just trying to put it back in, But then it occurred to me that I needed to get it out to get the whole thing in properly. So just remove the whole thing, slide the cables through the 2 holes. I'm just turning around so you can see it. Cables, 2 holes right there and there. And that slides on there. Pull the rubber through where the cables are. Oh, the brackets. If they're already lined up with the holes, great. If they're not, before you put this back on, just slide the brackets up or down an inch to line them up so that you can get it in. Otherwise, you'll have to turn the car on and play with the switch. Putting in a couple of the 10 millimeters, just so I have a chance to get everything set here. If you don't want to do this and you'd like me to do it and you're in Tampa Bay or Sarasota or Manatee, in Tampa, in Florida, I can help you out. Give me a call. So now I'm sliding the carrier for the outside handle back in place. Pretty easy. And then I tighten down the screw that holds what would be a key cylinder. It's just a blank plastic, but it would be a key cylinder normally. And I think here I'm putting in the 3 Torx 30 bolts. Right there, that's the piece I forgot. And it's right there. So take a knife, pop it out, you'll need that. Put it back in, there you go. I'm going to put in some of the wires. Before you try to put the glass onto the regulator, put the motor back on. Otherwise, there'll be nothing supporting it, it'll just slide in. So if you put the motor back on, you should be okay. Put on that doodad, whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but it does something. All right, we're going to put on the window motor now. You may want to put your hand behind there. You just want to be careful that the spool doesn't unspool, but it shouldn't be a problem. Now I'm bringing the glass down. On the clip on the right, make sure it's open to accept the glass. What you don't want to do is tighten it down and find that it's on one side. Both part of the clip is on one side or the other of the glass. So just check it out. I'm gonna look at it again in a minute. It was fine. Let's put our 10 millimeter bolts back in. Again, if this is helpful, do me a favor. L-I-K-E, like the video. That helps me a lot. You have no idea. That's how YouTube's algorithm works. So we put that carrier back on for the cables. And the speaker. I didn't have it right. You'll see in a second. It's not quite where it needs to be. Nope. All right. There we go. And then I realized I had the wrong screwdriver bit. I have seen some of these panels on eBay, and you can buy them directly from South Korea. It takes about 3 weeks shipping. They're pretty reliable. I bought them from there before. You can buy them at the dealer. They're expensive. Call up with the last 8 of your VIN number, and they will look it up for you and give you a price. Let's grab the door panel, put it back on. Not visible, but I plugged in the 2 wiring harnesses. And then again, people always ask me about the bracket that goes to the inside handle. It really only goes on one way. You shouldn't have any problem figuring that out. I know I didn't show you, but it's not a big deal. And then the rest of this you should have under control. Thank you for watching. Like the video. Call me anytime. Well, don't call me unless you want me to do it for you. But text me or ask your questions right here on YouTube. I'd be glad to answer them. Thanks for watching. Have a good week.